A new report from Politico shows that the Supreme Court is planning to overturn Roe v. Wade. Politico got a leaked draft of the opinion. This is overnight video from outside the U.S. Supreme Court where people were both protesting and celebrating the news. If Roe v. Wade does get overturned, states would be able to ban abortions. The Supreme Court is expected to issue its final ruling in late June or early July. Colorado's abortion providers have already talked about the potential of seeing patients from other states. This map from the Washington Post gives a better picture of that. It shows the only states protecting the right to abortion. And as you can see, Colorado would become an island in the middle of the country for abortion. At 7 o'clock over on Channel 20, we're going to hear how local leaders are reacting to the decision.
Ukrainian civilians are being evacuated from a steel plant in Mariupol, considered Ukrainian forces' last stronghold in the key port city. Now, Ukrainian soldiers say roughly 100 civilians have evacuated, but it's not clear where they're going to end up, and more are still inside. Satellite images show that steel plant almost destroyed after repeated shelling. Another key port city, Odessa, is also locked down. Only soldiers have been able to leave their homes.
Other news now, evacuations are pending in New Mexico as a massive wildfire keeps spreading there. The Calf Canyon Hermit's Peak fire has burned about 180 square miles so far. The entire town of Mora, New Mexico was forced to evacuate. Firefighters trying to contain that fire, but they're going up against days of dry weather and strong wind. They are not expecting a break in the weather anytime this week. Firefighters think that there could be double in size before they can get it under control. And new this morning, more cranes, construction, more dollar signs in your Denver rent bill. A report from DU's business school found that the average rent in the city was $1,765 a month, up $222 from April of last year. 9 News reporter John Glasgow has been looking into this report. And John, you found people that are willing to downsize but still pay a lot of money.
Yeah, that's for the lifestyle here. It's a trend that we've been seeing in the city. The next hotspot in Denver could be the Golden Triangle. High-rise apartments are popping up. Hundreds of people are expected to move into the area in the next few years. With rent on the rise, the question, how much space do you need to live and how much are you willing to pay? It's the newest resident to the Golden Triangle, Citizen Apartments, nearly 400 units, steps away from downtown.
We as a city recognize that there are some high-cost areas.
Mountain views, pool, amenities, a wide range of floor plans, including studios with a grand total square footage of 370 square feet, a closet, bathroom, kitchen, starting at nearly $1,700 a month.
The secret's out. We're no longer a flyover state, a cowtown city in a flyover state. We're a destination. And
Chris Hines is the city councilor for District 10. He says there are 20 new projects in development in the Golden Triangle. 3 new high-rises are under construction, bringing a total of more than 1,100 apartments to the area in the next few years.
We had more than 130,000 people move here in the last 8 years. And of course, we have to have places to put them.
Living spaces are getting smaller, harder to come by, and prices are on the rise.
There's demand for housing. And so the apartments are filling the gap to some extent if you can't purchase a home or maybe a condominium.
Ron Throop is a professor of real estate at University of Denver. His latest report found the average rent in Denver was $1,765 in April. He says more companies from states are migrating to Colorado, contributing to the boom and driving up rent.
People may come to Denver with salaries in tow, as in relocating with firms. Their salaries are locked in. So for some of those, it's still a bargain because they came from California or something like that.
So whether you're a new resident in Denver or a citizen of the Golden Triangle, some are downsizing space and paying more for lifestyle.
We will see a lot more restaurants. We will see a lot more grocery stores. So I do see this as a place where a lot more people will live, work, and play.
So Denver has 4 high-cost neighborhoods: downtown, Lodo, Cherry Creek, and Golden Triangle. The city requires developers to have some affordable housing with every new development. That can range from 8 to 10%. We reached out to LMC, the company who built Citizen Apartments, but they declined to comment on the story.
So, John, you're talking about 370 square feet for roughly $1,700 a month, which, wow, that seems like a lot. So how does that compare to other apartments in the city?
Well, from my search, I found more expensive studios to rent in areas like downtown and Cherry Creek. However, they're much bigger than the 370 square feet that we just saw there. So you could argue that they're a little bit better deal. Either way, people are willing to pay more and live in those smaller spaces to be close to the action, Gary.
Pretty interesting stuff. All right, John, thank you much.
Property taxes could be going down next year, except some of the money is money people would have saved anyway. Governor Polis announced a property tax relief bill. This as he runs for re-election, of course. The bill would lower assessment rates, meaning people would owe less in property taxes next year. But some of that money would have been refunded under Tabor, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, anyway. It's also seen as a move to discourage Colorado Concern. That's a business group from going to the ballot with an even bigger property tax savings proposal. Lower property taxes means less money for schools, parks and fire departments. The governor says his proposal would use some money from the general fund to fill that gap.
One of the Aurora officers involved in the death of Elijah McClain wants his case thrown out. That's according to documents obtained by the Denver Gazette. Nathan Woodyard's attorneys say his actions couldn't have killed McClain because the now former officer wasn't around when McClain received a high level of ketamine. Crime and Justice reporter Matt Jablow explains.
In the middle of April, after asking for all the filings related to the Elijah McClain case from the last few months, Denver Gazette reporter Julia Carty was given a few dozen documents by the Adams County Clerk's Office.
When I got home and started looking through all the filings from the last couple of months, I realized that there were a few in there that were intended to be suppressed.
One of the documents that was supposed to be suppressed or sealed was a motion by the lawyer for former Aurora police officer Nathan Woodyard to dismiss the charges against Woodyard.
They are presenting evidence based on testimony from medical experts who told the grand jury that their opinions were that the ketamine injection was Elijah McClain's primary, if not sole, cause of death.
The story was supposed to be published on the Gazette's website last Tuesday. But just before that happened, the McClain trial judge forbid the Gazette from publishing the story, saying it would jeopardize the concept of grand jury secrecy and the defendant's right to a fair trial. In legal terms, however, the judge was imposing what's called prior restraint.
It's just considered to be a really aggressive form of censorship that is presumed unconstitutional.
3 days later, after a challenge by the Gazette, the judge vacated her order and said they could publish on noon Monday. And they did. Carty said it was a victory for the public's right to know and for the First Amendment.
Even in instances of national security or competing constitutional interests, the Supreme Court is really hesitant to allow prior restraint.
In addition to Woodyard, 2 other Aurora police officers and 2 Aurora paramedics face a total of 32 criminal charges in connection with Elijah McClain's death. All 5 are due back in court in August for a status hearing on the case.
Yeah, one thing you want to know about the weather, we're between systems. So we have cloudy skies, maybe a late shower in the 60s today. Tomorrow, next system moves in. That's going to cool us down into the 50s with a chance for showers and storms.